Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased, except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Daniel.
Yes. And today we're going to be continuing our MCU-a-thon with The Incredible Hulk, which came out in 2008, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it came out a month after Iron Man.
Yes.
Yes, it came out in June 2008. Iron Man was May 2008. And let's just get right into it, Craig. Daniel, what did you guys think of The Incredible Hulk? What did you think?
Definitely better than the one that came out before it.
Well, yes, anything is better than that thing. And funny enough, before Daniel gives his opinion, we all saw the 2003 Hulk in theaters, and we all fell asleep. I just remember Hulk jumping around in a desert, and then I fell asleep.
Yeah, kind of like a video
You
game.
don't remember him getting bigger and bigger?
I remember him hitting a dog in the crotch. I remember that.
To this day, I've never seen that movie in one sitting. I've always fallen asleep or something's happened or I've never been
It
able
is
to actually
a
finish
great
that
movie
movie.
to fall asleep to.
Yeah. To our one fan, this is the legend of how Craig started falling asleep in movies.
Craig's narcolepsy started from that movie, 2003.
His narcoleptic genesis.
It's more probably when I started driving, but that's another issue.
Oh my god. Well, Dana, what did you think of The Incredible Hulk?
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, actually. We'll dive more into it, but yeah, my first impressions, I definitely enjoyed the movie. I think not even just on the basis of what became Hulk now, but I remember liking this one even when it first came out before the MCU became what it was.
Yes, and dare I say, I don't know if this is being a contrarian, but I really liked Ed Norton as Bruce Banner. And we'll get into the behind the scenes stuff. There's a lot of conflicting reports as to why he didn't come back. But for the time and for the tone that was the MCU, where it was mostly taking itself seriously, he fits the role. I can't imagine Ed Norton in goofy MCU now, where he's running around with Scar and She-Hulk. I can't imagine he would ever subject himself to do that.
Hey, you never know. You give him enough money, he could sell his.
No, I think
his morals.
he has too much respect for himself, I think.
No, you say that, but has he been offered the truckloads of money that other actors have been offered?
I think he is, when you think of the word actor, he's not the kind of guy that'll probably go to money. He's the guy that wants to be involved in the story and in the character he plays. I think he actually cares about his work, and he's very selective. He's very selective with his work.
I'll say this. It's easy to say no when you haven't been offered the truckloads of money.
That is true. What were you gonna say, Daniel?
I was like, just imagine if he became the Hulk full time. He goes from American History X Fight Club and then just becoming the Hulk for like almost 20 years.
Yeah, I can't. But yeah, I enjoyed Ed Norton's performance as Bruce Banner. He perfectly played that kind of haunted on the run guy, and you feel. Rewatching this, I felt kind of bad for him, especially when he comes back to America after that whole fiasco in Brazil. In Brazil, and he just sees Betty. Betty. Shut up. With another person. Oof, that's rough. That's rough, buddy.
Well, and it's been 5 years, so you think she not should have, but she moved on. It's bound to happen.
Was he gone for 5 years?
Yeah.
They said that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
it wasn't like a few months. It was 5 years.
I know when Ross was talking, when Betty and Bruce went on the run together, I think Ross said something along the lines of, this guy's been on the run for 5 years, crossing borders and stuff. So essentially, yeah, he's not an amateur.
Oh, okay, yeah, 5 years. Oh, okay, then yeah, it's not as bad then. I thought it was a couple months. They could have gave him a beard or something, but I guess when you don't even see the Hulk's transformation. He's shrouded in shadows when he attacks all those people in the bottle factory.
Yeah, it's like a slasher movie. You see the people get dragged.
You see like a giant arm come out and grab this guy and take him into the abyss. The CGI. Oh, you go, Craig.
It was like a little bit of like a slasher movie in the beginning. And
yeah,
actually, the Hulk talked too.
The Betty.
No, he said. I heard him say, "Leave me alone."
Oh yeah, he did say that in the beginning. Yeah. What's funny
before he hurled like a gallon tanks at them.
Now imagine the tonal whiplash one would get if you watch this movie and then you go right to Hulk
She-Hulk.
dabbing in a diner and then yeah, She-Hulk.
Well, I will defend the Hulk actor for at least the Avengers movie. After the Avengers movie, I can't defend him anymore, but for at least the first Avengers movie, he played sort of how this Bruce Banner was.
Oh yeah, the first Avengers movie, how they did Hulk was good. I would be remiss in my duty, Craig, if I didn't ask you to give me a plot breakdown.
Well, I don't know why it's my job to do this. So in the beginning of the movie, you see, I guess for the opening credits, you see how Bruce Banner became the Hulk. He was doing some gamma experiment, very reminiscent of the 80s Hulk TV show. Something goes wrong, turns to the Hulk, and then he goes on the run for a couple of years. And that's what you see him in Brazil 5 years later, working at a bottle factory. Obviously, he's too smart to do that, but he's trying to lay low. He's trying to find a cure with this guy named Mr. Blue. His blood gets into the bottom, one of the bottles in that bottle factory. Someone dies. They track him down and he goes on the run for the rest of the movie. He ends up reuniting with Betty at the college he used to work at. He meets up with Mr. Blue, and then at the same time, Emil Blonsky becomes the Abomination. Ross keeps trying to hunt down the Hulk, and then they fight to destroy Harlem, if you even can notice that. And he ends up going on the
Jeez.
run again and leaves Betty to fight future battles with new villains.
Okay, so one just little
And we never got a
correct,
sequel.
one correction, Craig. He didn't. The bottle didn't just kill anybody; it killed Stan Lee. Other than
So
that, a great plot breakdown. So let me ask you. Well, first off, before I get into my asking of what's the diff with the comics, what didn't you like about this movie?
probably Blonsky, because it's just how he was getting older. He wanted to try the super soldier serum because he got beat by the Hulk. It's like, have you seen him? Of
Yeah,
course you're gonna get beat
I don't
by
know
him.
why he took that so personally. The Hulk is
Yeah.
probably almost 2 times his size.
You see
Just
the picture.
tall. Yeah, he is probably like 3 sizes of him wide. I don't know why he took that so personally when they injected him with some form of the super soldier serum.
He was the Michael Jordan of whatever armed force, whatever he is.
But he
Well, if he
wasn't even
just,
old. They said in the movie he's 39 years old. He wasn't
I
even
guess,
old.
I guess in terms of if he was to
Maybe the
still be like
military. Yeah.
to still be on the ground, be a soldier and fighting.
You know, that's true. I think they did mention that. He says, "Why aren't you a general or whatever?" And then he says, "I like fighting." I don't know. Yeah, he felt tacked on, honestly. And I know they needed to have a villain for the Hulk to fight, but I don't know. His whole story was really dumb.
I was gonna say that the ending felt disappointing too. I felt beginning part, the pacing, the tone, all the setup, the Ross tracking him down, him Betty. I thought all that was very well done. Not that the fight wasn't bad, but I thought Blonsky being there, all this leads up just for him to fight Blonsky.
Again.
I think the ending is probably the weaker part of the movie. The last 5-10 minutes where it rushes Blonsky to come in just to get mutated, and it wasn't even under Ross's doing.
Yeah,
Ross
he
told
just
him to
wanted.
stand down.
Yeah. Yeah, that felt all
I think it
really
would have been better
silly.
if Blonsky if it really was directly under Ross that he told him he was just we got to stop him, just become him. But I don't know, it felt tacky.
Yeah, I think honestly, like what you said, Daniel, I think the first half of the movie is really good, and then it kind of devolves and falls into schlock territory. Because I guess maybe this is the problem you come across when you have a Hulk movie, and this is probably why there hasn't been one since. I know it's a rights issue, also, but it's like, what are you gonna do? Is he gonna fight another giant, disgusting, ripped monster like him? Not a whole lot of variation you can do with a Hulk movie.
Well, and I think you might run into the same problem as at the O3, right? He's fighting like Gamma Dogs and just the military. How many times can you really fight the military? We all know Hulk's gonna win.
Yeah. I thought this one did it fine with the introduction. It's all in the pre-credit scenes. Him turning into the Hulk, that's fine. I'm glad they didn't spend a ridiculous amount of time like the 2003 one did, where it was just giving the origins. That was such a drag and such a bore.
Oh
I
God.
thought I thought they handled the backstory very well with the intro.
Yes.
Throw it into the credits, and then it picks right up with him on the run.
Yeah.
I thought that was very well done.
Because like the quintessential Hulk story, right? He's on the run from the military. You don't really need to. I feel like people know that kind of about the Hulk. He's always hunted by the military, so there's no real reason to give too much to that. Just start there. People don't need to see how he becomes the Hulk. It's not all that exciting.
It's actually kind of tragic when you think about it. This
Oh,
man.
well,
Well, I was just gonna say this man being hunted down like a dog by his lover's father, who hates his guts, and he turns into a monster. That's pretty sad.
especially in the comics too.
Especially those shots.
No, you
Also
got
in the
it.
comics,
Craig, sorry.
no, in the comics, he became the Hulk because I think they're about to do some gamma
He saved
bomb
someone's
test.
life, right?
Yeah, he pushed Rick Jones out of the
It was
way, and he got
Rick
exposed.
Jones. Yeah.
So I guess should we just segue into some of the differences that maybe you like or didn't like that they adapted from the comics? I know Abomination does not look like anything how he does in this movie, where he looks like a disgusting skeletal creature. I know they fixed his design. I think Shang-Chi, he had a cameo. And they just use that guy as a cameo now for whatever reason.
He was in She-Hulk.
Yeah, they just the poor thing that
Imagine being like a huge fan, like a Hulk fan and an Abomination fan, just seeing that show, just after watching this movie.
That's being
Yeah.
Hulk
At least-
fan in general throughout the MCU. Like, keep taking L's.
Well, okay, so what was the Abomination's origin? Is that Emil Blonsky, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did he become the Abomination willingly?
To be honest, I don't remember his origin in great detail because he was just a brute. You know, he was the physical match for the Hulk,
Okay, yeah.
and he had like the weird fish gills, and he had the weird,
Which Hulk villain did you just describe?
yeah, the other physical brute.
Well, how many does he have?
Well-
He has.
I remember a few from playing the video game on the GameCube, the one that came after the '03 movie.
Well, I know he
There
has the
was
Absorbing
Matt-
Man. I know that because he's different. He's
There was
cool.
also Zax.
Yeah, he's like the only cool one that he has.
Zax.
Obviously,
What is that?
yeah, his name is Zax.
like-
Spell it's 3 Z's. Zax.
What?
It was a
It's the beam
Like
of
a
electricity, right?
that became sentient.
Yeah, because I remember if he was a person before. Yeah, I know he's electricity.
Yeah, but he was always. I always thought I agreed with Gray. He was one of the cooler ones because he was unique.
You can't
That's a-
punch your way out of this one.
Look
You can't
what the-
bench press your way out of this one.
This is what
There's-
the
but the-
Wikipedia says real quick. In universe, Zax was created by accident during a terrorist attack. He is a being of pure electricity who can absorb and discharge powerful currents of electricity. Its size and strength depend on the amount of electricity absorbed. It can also absorb human brain energy, temporarily taking on the personality of the victim. Wow. But yeah, just the first sentence. Created during a terrorist act.
Aren't we
Right.
all?
There's Madman and Ravage, but they're Hulk clones.
And Rick Jones turns into A-Bomb, but he's not a villain.
No, there's Red Hulk. How could we forget?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because I think we talked about some of the very, what's the word I'm looking for? Derivative Hulk villains. They're all kind of the same. They're just Big Punch Man, except Absorbing Man and Zax.
With Abomination, he was the first of the
Like, yeah, the clones almost.
yeah, and he was twice as strong as Hulk.
Oh,
Their
in the
first
comics he
fight,
is,
he
really?
beat. Yeah, in the comics, he beat Hulk within an inch of his life in their first fight. He almost killed him.
Wow.
He was twice his strength. Stanley, I think, created him intentionally to see the Hulk physically lose.
Right, because that doesn't happen these days anyway, because...
No,
I
Well-
wanted to mention
well,
this
the-
specifically before you continue
Yeah.
cooking, Daniel. I think the Hulk and Batman are some of the most overrated characters in any comic book space storyline. The Hulk, he can infinitely get stronger no matter the more mad he gets. That's really lame and that's really boring. And Batman has that stupid prep time. But apparently his prep time can never anticipate the Joker doing something nefarious.
I know you could take out Superman, you could take out the Justice League, but the
You could-
Joker, some man
He can
in
take
clown
out,
makeup.
yeah, he can take out Darkseid, but he can't stop some goon in clown makeup. They're just the two most overrated characters, and I hate. Well, this is a little bit of a tangent, but when Infinity War happened, which we'll eventually get to, when he lost to Thanos, the amount of coping in those YouTube comments on any kind of message board. Oh, but this was comic, Hulk. Oh my god, yeah. So I had to say that. It was so funny when Thanos just beat the Hulk to a pulp. It made me smile.
are
Do
they
you remember
always?
that fake trailer that got leaked?
Which
Or
one?
he snapped his neck or something like that. I'm training for my rematch.
Yeah, someone released a fake trailer for Endgame, and we all knew it was fake because they were showing like the Avengers like training. And it said, "Hulk, what are you training for?" training for my rematch
Oh
against
god.
Thanos.
Yeah,
Yeah, obviously that was
that
fake.
never happened.
Yeah, he never got a rematch. He basically died because
But yeah,
Banner took over the body.
Daniel, continue with your cooking of the Hulk villains. I just had to say that.
I agree, but so with Abomination, he gets a pass because he was the first, and he initially was beat Hulk. He physically overpowered him, so he was unique, and also, but Colin, connect to your point, Abomination worked back then because Hulk wasn't overpowered; he could lose to people.
Yeah.
Now he's a power fan. So when you have some like World War Hulk come out and he's just Jeff Loeb's power fantasy beating up all these heroes and stuff without a challenge, like punching through Mr. Fantastic or withstanding Black Bolt's scream, but which they later retcon because they pissed off fans that oh, it was a scroll. He didn't actually do it. It was just, it's just that's the problem with Hulk as a character now. But originally Hulk was treated more like this. Because in this movie, this is what I also liked about this movie: is Abomination was winning their fight.
Yeah.
He was physically stronger than the Hulk, so
Well, he
I
was
enjoyed
also
it.
a
And
little
also,
weakened too, the Hulk, because he jumped out of the plane
yeah,
or the helicopter and just face
yeah,
plants.
and I think they treated his
And she just
anger.
died.
Yeah, the movie just ends.
He actually, the serum worked. I'm cured.
That would have been a great shot. It's like you see the smashed concrete, and the camera just slowly pans up and back. You just see a blurry Abomination just continuously to ravage Harlem, and then cuts to black.
I would love like Abomination comes over, starts poking him like a gorilla, like
Yeah,
starts, like,
because
poking the
he
body.
lifts the rocks. He just sees a big pile of red, just like meat. He just pokes it.
Oh god.
But with this movie, I think they also did a good job on the fight scene. Abomination was stronger than him, which I believe in the comics, Craig, in the original when Hulk defeated Abomination because he had to team up with Ross to take him down.
Really?
Yeah, I think they said his heart stopped, and Ross had to, I think, revive him
Oh my
to
god.
get him to keep going, get him to keep fighting. Because
Yeah. So yeah.
it's been a while since
Go ahead.
I've read this stuff. I think so. His heart stopped. Ross revived him because I think Blonsky went out of control. So I'm like, okay, could you please stop him?
So, what is Blonsky's relation to the Hulk? Is he just some guy who can turn into the Abomination in the comics, at least? In this one, I
I don't think he
understand.
could turn back anymore. But this is also in the '60s, so I think he's Russian. So he was just a KGB guy who got the serum or whatever.
Oh, okay. Not by Ross.
I think he played a part in it. Again, it's been a while since I've
Okay.
read some of this stuff.
Interesting. Well, I
think
guess.
he might have just been KGB,
Well, yeah, the name like Emil Blonsky.
but
But
regardless.
yeah. But well, if you're doing a Hulk adaptation, what would you do with the character Rick Jones then? Because he is entirely omitted. Because I guess you could say maybe from a story perspective, at least adapting it to a movie, he would only be in the beginning. So,
Well,
yeah, you go.
they did have some of the other characters introduced, but like they had Doc Samson, if you remember him.
They had
He's the
he was
guy.
in the movie.
Yeah, he was the guy who was in Modern Family. I don't know his name.
That's him.
Yeah, it's Doc Samson. Well, it was obviously before he gets the gamma stuff.
Oh, wow! I did not know that.
You know, it's funny. Even as a kid, I always thought his name was too on the nose. Like Doc, his name was Samson, and his powers derived by his hair length. Like, there's like no subtlety with it. Like, there's the Hulk. There's the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's kind of a fusion of his origin and Frankenstein. But Doc Samson is just too on the nose. Like, you might as well just be Samson.
Well, they also have who we talked about in Captain America, the new one. They have the leader, who is Mr. Blue, that talks to Banner over the computer for most of the movie. And if I remember correctly, his brain transforms because the vial that the Abomination knocked lands on a cut.
Yeah, like it's the super blood gets in his blood.
Yeah. They didn't really show the vial drop on him though.
Well, I think didn't Hulk like knock him over, knock some vials over, and hit him in the face?
It was
I think it was the Abomination.
it was Blonsky.
Well, I know.
Oh.
I'm
Yeah,
just
it was
saying
when
wasn't
he
like
turned Abomination and he smacked
there
him.
wasn't a physical shot that shows the blood drop on his head, I think. Unless I was looking away when that happened. I might be wrong.
That is probably what happened.
Yeah, I probably looked away.
But do you remember what was the original? I don't think you guys ever knew it. What was the original ending for the leader's storyline?
In this movie?
I guess in the MCU before this latest tragedy that came out.
No.
So there was a tie-in comic because people kept saying, "What happens to the leader? What happens to the leader? Are we ever going to see him again?" Same thing with Blonsky. I think for Blonsky, he was just locked up in the vault for years, which is basically what we saw in She-Hulk. But for the leader, I think they said Black Widow came right after the Hulk attack, off screen, and the leader was like talking about he's going to take over the world or something, and then he got shot in the leg by Black Widow, was thrown in prison.
That's some pretty violent act by someone who surrendered. Did he surrender?
I never read the comic. I
Pretty
just
sure
always
that's
seen
illegal.
well, they're superheroes, or they can do illegal stuff. I never read the comic, but I've seen the comic panel of Black Widow shooting him in the leg.
Oh.
You probably can show it in the video.
Yeah, unprovoked. She just decides to shoot him in the leg. That's messed up.
I thought he was taunting her from what I remember, but again, I never read the comic. I've seen the panel of he was taken in by Shield, so his storyline was over because I guess they figured we're never going to get a Hulk sequel.
Interesting. That's okay. I don't even know what to say to that.
And he was captured by Shield because now the storyline was that Ross
Yeah,
captured him.
and
But
that
again,
Ross would
comics,
use him directly.
tie-in
Oh, here
comics
it is.
are never
Here
canon.
it is. There's just a picture of her shooting him.
Oh boy, I can't wait to show that in the video.
And it's like right above the knee too. This is a thing in movies. They shoot people in the leg. That's like a very dangerous spot to shoot someone because there's that major artery.
Yeah. Well,
don't
it's
know.
movie logic with actually
Yeah.
getting shot by a gun. They think if you get shot,
Point.
you'll be fine in certain areas, even though it's very tragic when you get shot and it takes you months to recover. You just don't put a
She
sling
did a
on it and
point.
you're
She did
fine.
point blank too.
Yeah, that might be illegal what Black Widow did.
So she has the Black Widow's thing. Couldn't she have electrocuted him and taken him out?
Yeah, why'd you have to shoot him?
Um,
Wait, Daniel, okay, real quick before we move on. Do you see the panel before that, or is it just her shooting him in the leg? Why does she shoot him? Did he throw something at her? Or did she really just run up to him and just shoot him above the knee?
So again, I've only seen
just-
the panel where she shoots him, but she's right in front of him.
Yeah, she's point blank.
Yeah, that is excessive use of force, and
The panel, it seemed.
imagine the lawsuit that he could have put on her.
Because as far as I'm aware, I don't think. I mean, I guess he committed crimes by helping Banner, but he didn't really do anything yet up until that point.
Okay, so this comes to the point where there's a lot of behind the scenes issues with this movie. Edward Norton actually rewrote a majority, if not all of the movie himself. It says that because I think the contrast was, I think I saw a video on this. Most of the contention was that Marvel wanted to be a little more lighthearted, but Norton wanted to be more serious. And then Norton rewrote a lot of the movie. They originally had Rick Jones, it says. My eye was just looking at it. Where did it go? I just looked at it.
Well, I can understand. I mean, people always have to pick sides when people always feel like you have to pick one side when it comes to these disputes for production stuff. But I agree with Edward Norton on this one. I think the serious tone fits the Hulk character better.
I just saw it. Where did it go?
Because the people who say, "Oh, you always got to side with the artist. You can't ever side with the producers or the executives."
Oh, I found it. Yeah, Norton removed Rick Jones and toned down S.H.I.E.L.D.'s presence. He also added the scene where Banner attempts to extract a cure from a flower and his emailing with Samuel Stearns, which references Bruce Jones' story. Norton rewrote scenes every day. Ultimately, the Writers Guild decided to credit the script solely to Zach Penn, who argued Norton had not dramatically changed the script. Wow.
I mean, probably better the movie. I mean,
Well, this...
I would agree with the serious tone. Takes a much better approach with the Hulk.
Well, because he played it also as a... It's
a tragedy more
Yeah,
so.
it's tragic. It's not funny what happens to him. It's not funny at all. That's sad.
I feel like a lot of these stories, again, as we get later on, it basically becomes nonstop jokes at every single emotional expense. But here, yeah.
If you want to dive into Bruce's backstory too, his dad was an abusive alcoholic.
Well, yeah, that was actually in the 03 one, I believe. I think his dad in the 03 one kills the mom. If I'm not mistaken. But this
I don't
goes.
think you have to go that deep, but
But
the point is there's no lighthearted element to his character.
Yeah, I agree. And Norton definitely did right by that, but this segues into why he got recasted, because apparently Edward Norton's very hard to work with or difficult, and some other people said that he only signed on to one film, I think, and he didn't want to be typecasted. So I think ultimately whatever you probably heard about Ed Norton and the movie, I think all of those factors are probably true. Him being difficult to work with because he probably just did not like the original direction of what they wanted to do. And he probably only signed on to one film. Didn't really want to come back, I imagine. Because imagine you're a working actor, and yes, you're getting the Marvel money, the Disney dollars, but you have to dedicate a certain amount of your year to Marvel whenever they decide to do something with their however many picture deals. Because we're going to be talking about Iron Man 2 later, not in this episode, but another one. But Samuel L. Jackson signed a 9-picture deal on Iron Man 2. A 9-picture deal.
Isn't that what Bucky signed?
He might have, I don't know. But that is insane. I know you're getting paid lots of money, and I'm sure a lot of people would take it. But still, that's a huge commitment.
I mean, it's work though. It's work.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's a good way to ensure you're never out of work.
Yeah, I know, but I think when it comes to some actors, and this is probably what I observed, they care a lot about their craft, and they don't really. Some of them don't really care about the money. They just want to act.
Well, because
and
they already
act
made
in-
the money.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's usually with the ones who made the money. They want to act in respectable stuff, and that's why I think a lot of some of the actors like leaving the MCU because one, probably Marvel's not what it used to be because they're just a disaster now, and everything there's no physical sets, everything's a blue screen. Ironically, everything that everyone said about, let's say, the Star Wars prequels, everyone criticized that for lots of blue screen. Marvel's the exact same thing, and no one's really saying anything.
Well, especially, I mean, not even now. You can go back to end of Phase 3.
Yeah, everything is just a giant blue screen that they just have these giant warehouses with blue screen everywhere, and probably in Atlanta, and they probably film in London.
I could only imagine the Harlem fight now.
Oh God, it'd been disgusting. Well, I guarantee you though that's probably like Canada, but still, it seemed like
They wouldn't have
everything-
shot in like
Yeah.
a city though.
Yeah, it seemed like that was an actual unit there filming, and you could tell it looks
Same-
good. Practical cars
Same with
being
like the,
thrown
camp,
around.
same with the campus fight.
Yeah,
The campus scene that looked good too. That's why I know I said before with the Captain America comparing the Red Hulk CGI to the '08 Hulk. I don't think it was far fetched. The '08 Hulk. I know at times it's parts of it haven't aged well, but it's still I think it's still, to me, it holds up pretty well.
I just never
know
cared for
parts
the
of it look
design
a
all that
little-
much. I definitely prefer the Avengers design, the more monstrous look.
I agree.
This
But
guy
I
looks
just think
more like a real bodybuilder. Like if you were to, stretch the image, he looks more like a human bodybuilder. Where
he looks like Lou Ferrigno stretched out. Yeah,
honestly,
the
he
old Hulk.
kind of does. Like he looks
Well, Lou
too
Ferrigno
human, not
voiced him.
monstrous.
I think he
Does he
had.
really?
I think he had a voice in all of the Hulks when he roars, if I'm not mistaken.
It said Lou Ferrigno. This was his third time voicing the Hulk. I think he did the little audios of Hulk.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
so it doesn't sound human. It doesn't talk. So how could you even know he's playing the Hulk? I mean, I know you're just saying he's
Yeah.
credited, but I don't
Yeah.
think you can tell he's actually voicing the Hulk.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's just like
I mean,
animal noises.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
'cause
credited
you-
on this one, and the Avengers, and Avengers: Age of Ultron, and Thor.
So
His
he-
last one was Thor Ragnarok that he worked on.
I wonder how much they paid him just to do that, or just to even get credited for it.
Well, he was uncredited in Age of Ultron, the Avengers, and Thor Ragnarok.
I mean, for him, it's fun.
He was in the movie too.
Yeah, he was
Nice
the
cameo.
bodyguard,
Yes.
the security guard.
Gotta love Lou Ferrigno.
Do you?
I like him, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, do we have anything else to say about the Incredible Bulk? The Incredible Hulk?
Well, I was going to say for this movie, I always like I think the beginning up until the campus fight was probably the best part of the movie because then after that slows down because
Yeah.
then you got Betty and Bruce.
He saves
Yeah.
Betty and takes her to a mountain or something.
Yeah, if you just watch up until the college fight, it's probably the way to go with the movie.
Yeah, the first half was really strong, and then it kind of falls. Not, I wouldn't say falls apart, but it definitely
not
loses
as
its
interesting.
it loses its momentum that it had going up to the giant campus fight. And even though I think I said the Hulk didn't look too great in this movie, it's for 2008. That looks pretty good.
My more issue is the design. I don't really care for his more humanoid look. Like his proportions are too human. I like the more monstrous look to him.
Yeah, and his muscles were really stringy on especially on his pecs too. I was
I
observing.
don't want to compare muscle mass with other men with you, Colin.
I don't know.
Because the original Hulk was more of like the Universal Frankenstein head, more of that
He
approach
had
than
that
like
terrible haircut. in
an
the
actual
original
monster.
comics.
You like the enlarged forehead.
Yeah.
Because I know some people try to be contrarian. They'll say, "Oh, I think the '08 Hulk design was better. I think
No.
the CGI is better." I'm like,
the Avengers,
okay, the CGI can't be better.
first Avengers, he looked the best.
2012 Avengers
Yeah.
smokes it
Yeah.
on looks and muscle mass for Colin, and also just CGI in general.
He's definitely working those traps.
Well,
But
also,
but for '08, the CGI, the fact that parts of it are comparable to Baroque and shots of that, the fact that those scenes I think look better says something about the MCU now. But that doesn't mean it's. I think people remember it better. It still has its flaws, but
yeah, but also with this one too, the Hulk doesn't really look like Ed Norton. With it's the first Avengers movie that you could see that's Mark Ruffalo's likeness on the monster, but this doesn't really look like Ed Norton at all.
But see, I kind of agree with them not looking the same. They're supposed to be different characters. I don't think they should look alike.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, because people, like I said, they always try to make it seem like it's Banner controlling the monster when the idea is that they're two separate characters fighting for control of the body. So if they look different, I think that fits more to the point of they are two different characters.
Okay.
I don't like the
You know
same
what, Craig?
face.
I rescind what I said. You convinced me. I'm sold. But
I mean, you can think that.
I still think
we'll have that.
the 2012 Hulk looks the best.
Yes. I know it's the same one used in, I think,
What?
Age of Ultron, but
Yeah, I think the color scale was like muted. The Age of Ultron was like the color scale was muted in that movie.
it's funny because every other color was brought up.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Daniel?
And so we'll have that stripped from the record for you, Colin.
The court stenographer strips it from the record.
Do you guys have anything else to say?
I have a couple of extra thoughts.
Yes.
Do you think we'll ever see Doc Samson again?
No.
I know Hulk doesn't have the greatest supporting cast, but like the one character that he has, you refuse to bring in.
Well, they didn't even bring in Rick Jones, and I guess at this point you can't because he was directly involved with the origin, the genesis of how Bruce Banner became the Hulk.
Well, not just that, he was involved with a lot of the early superheroes. I think he was with the Avengers, and almost every hero he was involved with at some point.
Oh,
Wasn't he in the first Avengers comic too?
I really don't know.
I'm too far away to get the book.
I think he was.
Because he was a pretty
I think he
important
was,
character. Yeah, I don't understand why they cut him having the kids running around when it's supposed to be more serious stuff. Like you can't have a kid sidekick running around. Like that's why they brought Bucky. Bucky can't be a kid anymore. It's too weird to have a kid fighting World War II.
You know what that reminded me of, real quick? Then we'll continue. In Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones hired a kid to be his getaway driver.
That is a good point.
I thought about that the other day, and how he just essentially roped this kid into being in such danger he's shot by gangsters in the streets of China.
And he looks up to Indy as a father figure.
No one ever talked about how irresponsible that was.
You're gonna put Indiana Jones on blast, saying he's irresponsible, getting kids into gunfights.
Who hires a kid to be a getaway driver?
Well, that's just the kid. He was too short. I mean, I guess the name's Short Round, but he had to have blocks to reach the steering wheels. Not the steering wheel, the pedal.
That's so funny. I love it. So I'm gonna be honest. I had no idea Rick Jones was a kid. I thought he was
You probably remember him as A-Bomb, right?
a college student. I remember the only way, or the only how I know Rick Jones is A-Bomb is from the trivia in Marvel 10 Alliance 2. That's how I know.
He was a big, much important character in like the 60s and probably 70s, but then he kind of faded because I guess he wasn't as interesting.
So
I can't tell you why.
He is a kid though, right? That like
He's He's like a teenager, college student range, right?
Yeah, well, he's on the teen brigade, so I'm hoping he's a teen, not like some college kid preying on teenagers.
Oh my God.
I just like mention something horrible and Colin breaks every time.
Oh, with the kids.
You're like, yeah, you're laughing that Short Round's getting shot at. You're laughing at my joke about.
Short Round hears Indiana Jones fire a gun and kill somebody.
That's his father figure. I'm surprised he didn't grow up to have more issues.
Oh, what was I going to say? Because you're talking about how.
He was 16, Craig.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
When the bomb went off, when Bruce saved him.
Well, isn't originally in the comics wasn't Bucky like a 15-year-old too?
Yeah, he was young. I don't know how old he was.
Well, I'm glad they aged them up at least.
Imagine Tom Holland as Bucky in the first Cap movie.
Oh my God,
Jesus.
Mr. Stark!
Awful
Oh,
images
man!
in my head.
Mr.
These
Rogers!
guys are like really, wow,
They're really shooting at us.
These guys are really evil. Some would say they're Nazis. Looks right at the camera.
Mr. Rogers, what's that funny red band they have on their arms? Well, Craig, how did we start talking about? What other points did you said your points of thought?
I brought up other Hulk side characters.
Oh,
Doc
yes.
Samson.
Okay, yeah, he's never going to appear again. I don't think Rick Jones is ever going to appear again because
He never appeared. We're still
Well,
waiting for him.
not even that, but I don't imagine that they'll lump Hulk back into the MCU anymore. I don't know. He is a joke. He is a complete joke.
Well, he's going to appear in the new Avengers movies.
Is he? Is that confirmed?
I can't say it's confirmed, but I can't imagine not having him.
Yeah, he is still, I believe, one of the most popular superheroes out there. Somehow. I don't know how people
And
like
it's
him.
not like the actor has to do anything anymore. They just tell him, okay, just show up probably. Someone else could play, you know. Someone else could use
Yeah,
his body.
I really doubt that he is on set anymore. He probably just shows up to a booth because beforehand you would see him with. Well, I know they did that for Josh Brolin, but I think for the first Avengers movie, he was there and they had that big stick on his back that would be level to where the Hulk's head would actually be. I know they did that, but I don't. Marvel's smart. They probably are like, we don't need you on here anymore. Just come to a booth for a day. Just make grunts and talk. Here's $2 million. I don't know.
At this point, does any actor actually film for these Marvel movies anymore? Because it sounds like they always have some stunt double, in costume, covering their face, doing
Well,
most of the stuff. And
yeah, I believe they started doing that since Iron Man 3, I think,
oh my God,
for Robert Downey Jr. I know it was apparent in the Civil War behind the scenes footage. Robert Downey Jr. wasn't there at the airport scene. There was a stunt double in a mask.
it's really sad. I mean, these guys get paid so much money too. They're not even there. You think I'll make you work for that money?
What other streams of thoughts do you have, Craig, about this movie at least?
Well, obviously, we all know the story of the Hulk, how he never got his own solo movie. But I was thinking,
Hmm.
if he were to get a solo movie, like say he got a movie in phase two, what direction would you have liked them to take?
Well, I'm conflicted because I like the serious tone of this movie and the army chasing him, but it would be derivative. A sequel with the same kind of stuff would be derivative of this movie. Be the same thing again.
Yes.
So I don't know what I would really do.
Well,
Because I think
again,
it'd be
you could
lazy.
do a plot with the. Well, I was thinking at least again, just a kind of where to start. Obviously, he's now more of a celebrity, so you don't have to worry about it being chased by the military, but he could still have enemies.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's him trying to get his life back on track, but sins from the past with the Hulk trying to get back at him, like the leader now wants revenge, trying to ruin, Banner rebuilding his life.
Would you bring back Betty?
Yeah, I mean, she's still the love interest. He still doesn't rebuild his life with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely would have. I would have focused more on Banner and Hulk fighting for control.
That too, yeah.
That's an interesting dynamic.
I mean, and they completely gut it from the movies. It's Banner 90% of the movie, and then for the action scenes that bring out the Hulk.
I like in this one where he tried to refine his methods of deep breathings and always trying to at least be in control. I know they don't have that, like how Craig wants it with the internal fight between Hulk and Banner and who's fighting over the body. But at least in this one, he's not a dummy. He's trying to prevent any incident as possible or any incidents at all.
I also think too an approach they could take is how he originally was, where Hulk came out at night, regardless.
Really?
Yeah,
I was laughing because I know.
and then
I was laughing because I know what they're referencing. The Doctor.
Yeah. Dr.
Yeah,
Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
yeah, oh, he was blatantly rip off of that.
Yeah,
but,
especially if he comes out only at night. God stand.
But I think
can you get
that-
any more obvious?
Well, again, Doc Samson to me is always one of the worst ones.
I don't know if
But
I'd go
think-
that far, but because I think that would
well,
just be-
maybe that could just be for the first movie, him reeling him in and trying to. Now he just only gets him out in anger. Now he only comes out in anger, like in the second movie. There's a progression of it, but you don't get any of that really too much. You get some of it in the Avengers: Age of Ultron with the lullabies, but I think the problem is Hulk is a limited character, especially
They
with
never gave him a character. That's always been the
Yeah.
issue.
he's just Monster Man who smashes things. The character
And
is all
it-
Banner.
And then when he's done useful fighting, they just basically put the pillow over his face and go back to sleep. We don't deal with you anymore, you monster. Like they treat him horribly.
Yeah, they kind of do.
Because again, if this was the sequel where let's say Banner trying to rebuild his life, just a thought, right? Then maybe Hulk's resentful because I made you famous, I helped clear our name.
Yeah. Shield is
Maybe
like
you
Hulk's pimp.
Get back in the cage.
Sorry, continue, Craig.
No, it's not entirely inaccurate. Like Banner's the pimp, the Avengers are the pimp. Just saying, get back in the cage. You don't watch for it.
It was like Banner was like, "Can I get out? Can I go even just on a stroll, get some groceries?" Fury backhands him.
Know your worth, mutt.
I mean, that's also again the greatest tragedy of the MCU Hulk. He just never was a character. And
Yeah.
they tried to, too little, too late. I mean, Thor Ragnarok, they tried to make him a character, but I always felt it was too little, too late at that point. Because
Well,
then in
also
Infinity War,
I
Endgame, they
think
killed him.
for
I
Endgame
think
too.
Hulk.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. You go. There you go.
I was gonna say, I think in. I know we talked about his redundant lineup of villains. I think he would have had enough for a trilogy or at least a duology. You could have done the leader in the second movie, and depending on how that does, I think maybe bring in a more interesting villain like Zax, who isn't just a Hulk ripoff.
Yeah, he'd
I
be
think
kinda
if you
cool.
did Abomination, Leader, and Zax in that order, or maybe the Leader last, maybe to build up, I think that would have been
Let me.
that'd be a good trilogy.
There's two thoughts that are going on in my mind right now. What are the leader's powers? Is he just really smart?
He's supposed to, as strong as the Hulk is, the leader's supposed to be as smart.
Okay, so in a movie, how would or in all right in the comics, how does the Hulk battle the leader?
Well, usually the Abomination's kind of the muscle, right? And then the leader is
So I think
behind this.
if you have the leader, then he has to have some subordinate who maybe he
Yeah.
masterminds, he plans everything, and then he sends his pawn to go after the Hulk. I think if you just have the leader, the Hulk would just show up and just beat him to a pulp and kill him.
Well, okay, maybe the first one is maybe not just the Abomination,
Or
maybe more so
yeah.
Ross.
Or you have maybe where the leader comes up with a antidote or a suppressant that he finds a way to keep the Hulk suppressed. So it really now becomes Banner versus leader, like a battle of minds.
So is the leader in this movie anything like how he is in the comics? Why does he care about the Hulk? Why does he care?
Well, obviously he's nothing like the comics, even in the new Falcon movie. Because this is supposed to be the setup, right, where Bohr becomes the leader. And I think he was just curious, like he just wanted to do it for the fun of it.
To get the Hulk's blood?
All right, didn't he want the blood too?
He
I
did.
think that's why he was helping him, yeah.
Well, I get that, but I'm just saying in the comics,
Oh, in the
why
in
does
the
he
comics,
care?
I think his how he got was a freak accident.
But like
thought
with
it
the
was-
Hulk, what's his deal with him? Why does he not
I
like
always
him?
thought it was ego because I think they said he was just some janitor that got exposed to the gamma radiation. So, some average guy becoming a genius, I guess it was his ego.
Oh, okay. And this one I understand. I'm just saying in the comics, like, what is why are they always clashing heads? Doesn't really make any sense when the Hulk
Well,
can
he's
just kill him.
green. Hulk's green. Leader's green. So they have to fight.
They both probably have the same kind of size head, especially if it's the original Hulk.
Like, because a lot of the Hulk villains too, it's just other generic gamma monsters, like other Hulks he could fight, which is boring.
Yeah, that's why I think Zax.
He
as
even
I
fights
just found
himself,
out
the
about
Maestro
today.
from the future.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
But it's Hulk from the future where he's super smart and becomes evil. And I think he's a dictator of the Earth or
Oh
something.
my god.
It's really lame.
But yeah,
'Cause they
that
should-
Zack's character sounds interesting.
Because they always, like the Hulk fans love to show his trophy room where he has like every single artifact in the MCU. I think he has Iron Man's helmet, Thor's hammer, the Silver Surfer surfboard, Doctor Doom's helmet. Every artifact you could think of, he's got in his trophy room.
Johnny
really lame.
Storm's heart,
At that point, might as well.
the Thing's head.
Yeah, he doesn't have the greatest lineup of villains.
No, they're all redundant. Or I shouldn't say all. 98% of them are all redundant. But I think that Zack's character would be pretty cool. Too bad he's probably too cool that Marvel wouldn't have the effort to do. Because I don't think they would ever do, unless they reboot
Yeah.
the MCU, they will never do another Hulk movie.
Because I know a lot of Hulk's iconic fights aren't even with his own villains; they're with other heroes.
Yeah, it's him getting out of control.
Yeah, him versus the Thing, him versus Elsie Moore,
You
Craig.
stop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thor,
Thor, Namor,
Thing.
yeah, Thing. Juggernaut is another rival he has. They always try to say Absorbing Man like a Hulk villain, but
Is
he
he?
originally was a Thor villain. He originally was a
Really?
Thor villain. Maybe he became a Hulk villain.
Yeah, because the
think.
Hulk doesn't have anybody. They plucked him.
But
Because also what's holding them back too is that I believe, Craig, Universal owns the Hulk. They still do, I believe.
I think it's the distribution rights. 'Cause obviously,
Yeah.
Marvel has access to all the characters.
Well, yeah, that's
They
why
just
I meant
can't
they can't
have
do
a movie
Hulk
called
without
The Hulk.
the
Yeah.
Universal. And Disney wants their logos in the front.
I mean, honestly, could they just? I'm no lawyer, but could they just say it's another movie and just have the Hulk in it? Like it's the Green Punching Man movie, but it's actually just the Hulk and all the Hulk characters.
That's probably just a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I mean, I guess you're testing the balance of what the contract allows.
Well, we don't know the exact details, but we do know that, yeah, Universal owns the distribution rights to the Hulk. It's just they've done nothing with the property.
Well, it's obviously for spite. I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's like Sony with Spider-Man.
Well, no, that's because Marvel messed up and they still make money off it. This is spite because I think
Oh,
Marvel's offered to buy them out, and they're just content to say screw you, pound sand.
good for them. So has before we wrap this up, has Marvel attempted? Okay, so let me rephrase that. If there was no rights issues with Universal, would they even try to do a Hulk movie, or that was never really in the back of their mind?
I would have to imagine they would try to, even though I think it's probably the worst performing financially. I think after the Avengers movie, I think okay, let's try again because people like the Hulk. People, Avengers is now in the public consciousness. Let's try again.
Well, I'm curious why this one didn't perform as well. It got good reviews for the most part. Hulk is a pretty popular character, more popular at the time than Iron Man, and Iron Man
What
made $500 million.
I wonder if it has to do with obviously it came out 5 years after the '03 one. And this is before the hitting the reboot button every couple of years, so that probably confused people because the '03 one was pretty bad.
Yes, it was abysmal, and I don't know if we'll ever do an episode on that because he probably can't watch it. Probably all fall asleep. We'd all have to take shifts watching it. Daniel, you get first shift. I get second. Craig, you get the third shift.
Yeah,
But
they said they had sequels planned, but they just couldn't do it.
yeah,
And now it's too late. I mean, like, everyone's too old.
yeah.
Too much time has
Yeah.
passed.
Well,
Hulk has a son now
all
with a hairline.
Mark Ruffalo has to do is just show up into a recording booth. The animators will, or you know what? I lied. He'll have 2 days of work. He'll probably spend either a day or half his day sitting in a booth getting blindsided by like 1,300 cameras so they can capture his likeness, and then he'll spend the other day in a booth recording his lines in ADR.
Most of his work will just be going on press tours.
Yeah. Promoting the movie. That was another thing. Ed Norton apparently didn't promote the movie because he wasn't happy with what became of it. I would have been very curious if we could have an alternate timeline. Ed Norton in the Avengers.
Oof.
He definitely would be sticking out like a sore thumb because I think he's a very good actor, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
he has good timing with comedy. But I don't know if his skill set would have been served well in tongue-in-cheek Avengers movie with quips every 10 seconds. I don't know.
Think you would come to blows with Joss Whedon, like actually beat him up?
He might. I don't know. Joss Whedon deserves to get beaten up, but
Well, also, how would he? There's reports that he might have an ego being in the room with Downey Jr. being the face of Marvel. Would he have want to be the face of
I
Marvel?
don't think it was that. I think Norton cared a lot about the script and he wants input on the story. And Marvel definitely, maybe at the time they allowed it, but not then. Not in Avengers and Avengers on too. I don't think they would have. They've been like, no, get out of here. We know what we want to do with your movie. And I think he cares too much about. I don't want to say cares too much, but he cares about the character he plays, and he would
But
at
he,
least want to
he,
do
he
justice.
wants to make a good movie. He
Yeah,
has
I
integrity
think
in
that's
his work.
that's what's on his mind. And Mark Ruffalo, haven't seen him a whole lot of things besides Marvel movies. Probably for Marvel, he's a yes man. He'd be like, yeah, I'll do whatever. Sure, why not? Norton gave pushback, and that's probably why they didn't want him. And maybe it's for the better. I don't know. I don't know if he would have liked doing that stuff. I don't know.
I like money. I would do it.
Maybe maybe we would. We would do it in a heartbeat, but he probably didn't care about money. I don't know. Who knows?
Oh.
Who knows? But I would have loved to see an alternate timeline where Ed Norton is the Hulk, and it probably would all end up the same in the garbage, even with his good performance, because the stuff they make the Hulk do in these movies.
I would have been most curious just to see a trilogy for Hulk. What they would have pulled.
Yeah.
Oh, Craig, how do we forget Wendigo?
I mean, he's just like he's just another mindless brew.
Or Sasquatch?
No, is it Yowie? Or is it Sasquatch?
No, it's Sasquatch. There's a character called Sasquatch.
He's on
Yeah, I know that.
is that-
No, I thought the character's name, because he's from Canada, I think, in the comics.
Alpha
Yeah.
Flight, right?
Yeah, he's like in the Avengers, the Canadian Avengers or whatever. I thought his name was Yowie, but yeah, I do remember the Sasquatch character. He was in your
But again-
encyclopedia book, Craig, of the Marvel heroes.
Yeah, but there's more mindless muscle guys Hulk can fight.
Yeah, there's no variation with his villains, is what we've been saying for all this time. Just big brute guy, and then you have cool ones like Zax, and well, apparently Zorban Man's not even a Hulk villain, so you can't even include him. You guys
And
have,
people would
yeah.
people would say like another villain he could be fighting. He'd be fighting the Avengers, or they did do the World War Hulk storyline. Like, no one's going to do that. No one wants to see the Hulk beat up other heroes.
Especially in a
It's not an interesting
hilarious
story.
way, like how he does in those stories where he's just completely overpowered to the point where it's comical.
Or they say do the Planet Hulk storyline. It's not that interesting.
Well, they already kind of did this, so.
But they wanted Hulk to do it.
I,
And there's a reason why Thor Ragnarok kind of sped run that story because it's really not that interesting for a movie.
yeah. Well, we'll eventually get to Thor Ragnarok, but
I think the best Hulk style story, Craig, was the Gamma World from Earth's Mightiest Heroes with Leader taking over.
That was a good show back in the day.
yeah, until it got canceled for Jeff Loeb's was like Avengers. There's like another Avengers show that he canceled the Earth's Mightiest Heroes for.
Yeah, because he wanted synergy with the MCU.
God, that guy's such a loser.
Yeah.
Jeff Loeb, if you ever stumble upon this video, you're a loser.
So there were a few subscribers. You're going to get one less subscriber.
Careful, Colin. He might write a comic book storyline with Hulk just pummeling you in.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. Hulk can do that. Kill me in one punch. But do you guys have anything else to say about The Incredible Hulk?
You know that guy, I guess
Oh.
you probably know this already, but the guy who owns the pizza place?
Yeah.
In the movie, his name is Stanley Lieber.
Really? I did not know that. Oh, he did call him Stan. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, his name was Stan, but you know why? You know Lieber, right?
That's Stanley's real last name.
Yes.
Stanley Lieber. He was also Senator Lieber in Marvel Alliance 2.
That's true. Oh, yeah.
Need actual comic books knowledge? Don't go to Colin. Need Marvel Ultimate Alliance knowledge? Go to Colin.
You need to know all the answers to the Marvel Ultimate Alliance trivia games. I'm your guy. But final thoughts?
Definitely, I guess we're going to give our ranking relative to starting from Iron Man 1. Definitely below Iron Man 1, but
Yes.
still worth a watch. I know it kind of falls
Yeah.
off towards the end, but I think it's still okay.
An overall good movie.
Yeah, I was surprised on this rewatch because I think, God, probably this one, Iron Man 2, and Thor Dark World, I watched the least. So, just a lot better than I remembered.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
And I would have loved to see more Ed Norton because I thought he was good, but maybe it's for the better that he never came back.
I was going to mention this too. I don't think. I think only Daniel's one who only saw it in theater when it came
Yeah,
out.
I
because-
had no interest in seeing this. I remember, Daniel, you saw it in theaters and you said it was good.
Mhm.
Well, you
We
liked
didn't see it
you liked the
because-
Hulk as a kid.
I did.
remember.
I did. And then I grew up.
And then I turned 6.
Because I'm pretty sure we got confused too. We thought it was. I think most people thought it was a sequel to the '03 one. I think that's why we didn't see it. Like, no,
Yeah.
not again. No, don't do that to us.
I don't want to pay to go to sleep. I don't want to do that.
You do that for free.
But yeah, The Incredible Hulk, not a bad movie at all. Falls off a little bit, but it's a lot better than we remember.
Yes.
So with all of that being said, this has been The Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
Yep.
And I'm Daniel.
And we will see you next time.